guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast, a remarkable figure in the podcasting world. He hails from the Republic of Kenya, and he has garnered 3 nominations for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA. In addition, he also was nominated for Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards. He was a presenter at the 2023 and 2024 Afro's Audio Podcast Festival and participated at the 2025 Podfest with a wealth of knowledge and unique perspectives. We are glad to have Sambaza. Hey.
Hey Jen, what's up? How y'all doing today?
Doing pretty good. Welcome. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm out at large somewhere in an undisclosed location at this moment.
Very nice. Glad you can make it. I know you're out there being super soccer dad and all the things. So we're glad you were able to make it. Thank you.
Or anytime. I will not miss this
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah, so we definitely have a great show for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And we have a great guest, our great guests today. So yeah, we'll be getting into some great guests that we'll introduce shortly. And we'll be talking about the love of music and podcasting and being a creator. We love having conversations with our fellow creatives, as we have shared before. So we'll get a behind the scenes look at what it means to co-create a podcast, navigate creative chemistry, and plan for a long-term impact with making this content. So super dope show today. And before we get into all the things, let's get an affirmation.
Oh, okay, so the affirmation for today is I am capable of overcoming challenges. I'll repeat. I am capable of overcoming challenges, which is great.
I know that's right. Look, I needed to hear
Yeah.
I needed to hear
By
that
by
today.
I did overcome a challenge over the weekend too. I just want to let you know I was a runway model for a particular cause for men's health. It was men against gender violence, gender-based
Hmm,
violence, and also the youth. They were trying to get the youth in to teach them to be, great men. So there was a fireside chat, and there was also a catwalk. A catwalk, yeah. Well, a tomcat walk, we'll call it like that, since it was only men. So we managed to do the walk there, and it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it there. We had friends joining.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
great. How was it?
It was great.
Mhm,
It was for Honeypot Foundation for
mhm.
Dr. OJ, and she is based in Dallas. If you go onto her Instagram, you'll see the whole show out there.
Okay, we'll have to get that link and share it so we can let
Most
everyone
definitely.
know to support what you did. And we were glad you were able to support that cause. That's what's up. So thank you for sharing that. But yeah, so super geeked about our guests today and the topic. So, any thoughts about the topic before we introduce our guests?
It's a great topic that we're going to talk about. It's going to help the podcasters and anybody alike who's doing marketing and business. And this was a conversation that we actually started in the hallways of Afros and Audio 2024, and we didn't get to finish it, so we're trying to get back into it and finish it now. But this time, Jen, we're including you, and it's at least got more flavor. There's not going to be any distractions. It's just you and I and our guests.
For sure. So the topic I've titled, because I wasn't a part of the original conversation, is the power of podcast partnerships. So that is kind of the meat and potatoes, or the theme, if you will. So stay with us, and we will introduce our guests. All right. So let's do that at this time. So our guests. Our guests are a critically acclaimed Black music podcast co hosted by um, two individuals that we'll be introducing shortly with over 30,000 downloads and a perfect 5-star average rating across Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, Q Points. Podcasts have reached listeners in 62 countries and earned nominations for Best Black Music Podcast at the Podcast Black Podcasting Awards and the uh, Best Entertainment Podcast at the Ambies. So, our guests, who include DJ Sir Daniel, a member of Atlanta's All Vinyl crew, Wax Fundamentals, brings his passion for DJ culture and creating inclusive celebratory atmospheres from a Black perspective. Jay Ray, a podcast consultant and deputy director of strategy and impact for the Counter Narrative Project, focusing on telling full, honest stories and often overlooked communities. Together, they drop the needle on Black music history with a deep, engaging conversations that celebrate the culture and legacy. And we are so glad to have them here. Viewpoints.
Wow.
What up?
That's us? Jerry, that's us?
That's us, yo. I was like, oh snap, yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do.
I would listen to them too.
Yes. Thank y'all for having us so
Yes.
much.
Absolutely. We're very happy to be here.
Look at all this blackness on the
You
screen.
listen, let's get into it, people.
All this
Yep.
mountain. Come on.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. Now, to introduce you guys and introduce everybody after all this, I usually go to Africa and go around and look for a country and I look for some fascinating things about the country and a proverb. We're going to talk about a proverb. Just any answer, we'll agree to it. We just have a discussion about it. Normally, I throw in Jen to try and give me an equivalent of an African American one from the United States that we can compare with it. But if you do, you can add that one in as part of your kind of understanding the proverb. All right, so this time we're looking at Somalia and a few facts about Somalia. I'll give you three. Somalia has one of the world's largest camel herds, and they have over 6 million ones. So therefore makes them one of the most or the top producers and exporters of camel milk after Kenya and Mali.
Mhm.
Those are two countries. Then Somali has the longest coastal line in Africa, spanning 3,333 kilometers along the Indian Ocean. The country is also home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the north.
Mm.
Oh, on Earth, not in the north, on Earth, sorry. Then Somalia is the largest frankincense producer. I did not even know that. I learned that today. And it comes from a substance derived of a boswellia raisin tree. And to make it short, it's now being used widely as for aromatherapy with
Mhm.
aromatherapy experts in across the world. All right, that's about it. The proverb they say is, you cannot hide behind a tree from a man who always hides behind a tree himself.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I don't know that there's an American. Is there an American equivalent
Hmm.
for that
Oh,
one?
oh, oh, oh. Ooh. Well, I guess it's. I just thought of one.
Oh, okay.
What are we? What's the language? Are we doing any kind of Do I have to censor myself? It's not really a bad word, but
Oh, you
okay.
No,
be
the-
open.
I think the equivalent of that is don't pee on my leg and tell me that it's raining.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I like that one. And now, you know what I was thinking about with that one was wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is maybe
okay.
my grandmama was going to give you a that. Okay. Wherever you go, there you are.
That's a bumper sticker from the 70s. If I
Yes.
don't it ain't
Yeah.
one. Yes, God.
Oh, yeah. See,
That's a good
there we
one.
go. All right. So, as you guys introduce yourselves, please share a brief version of the origin story of Q Points podcast.
Hmm.
Who goes first?
Do you wanna do it, Sir
Sure.
Daniel?
So
You start, and I'll.
you want an individual breakdown, an individual introduction, and then
No,
like
yeah,
Okay.
so
sure.
open.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the brief Sir Daniel story is I am I'm an immigrant, came to this country at the age of 2. I've grown up in several major cities that in the particular time that I was there was the zeitgeist of some very important musical movements. And I come to you now from Atlanta. I have had a full experience, life experience that has exposed me to lots of musical genres, as well as I've had the opportunity of working in the retail aspect of music, and current and past and presently I'm working in the arena of radio, which has always been my first love, even as a kid. And so DJing came to me, some would say late in life, but it was a necessary savior that actually started me on a path that led me to J Ray,
Mm-hmm.
and which leads us to the origin story of Q Points podcast. An origin story that took about 12 years in the making after
Right.
we were first introduced to each other, and then right after coming out of the grasp of the, as what we call, the pandemic or the ponderosa, or whatever you wanted to call it at that
The
point,
Panamera,
the
whatever.
Panamera, the Panera bread, all of that kind of stuff. Jerry and I were constantly in contact, talking about what kind of imprint we wanted to leave culturally. And because we had both done separate projects at different times that were musically inclined and that were also within the podcast arena. So then we just were kicking around ideas and decided, hey, there is an aspect of Black music history that is not being taught, because we were both very frustrated with the way that some young people were unable to appreciate um, a lot of important history and historical figures in Black music culture. And so we decided to join forces and create Q Points podcast. And it's been we're going on 5 years now.
Yeah.
We're going on 5 years. 1,000 episodes. I
No.
jest, but we getting up there as far as episodes are
Yeah.
concerns, and and having the opportunity to meet people like you, Jen, and Sambaza, as being part of the collective of Black podcasters. So here we
Look,
are, and those
here
are
we
the
are.
gifts that we bring.
Yeah. Um. So there's a lot of layers to this onion. So I go by J Ray as a podcaster, but my name is Johnny Ray Cornegay III, and I do claim my name really proudly, right? So I do feel like I am carrying a really important legacy of my father and my grandfather, and just the my family in general. But I grew up in Chester, Pennsylvania. It's actually the city I am now living in. And what's weird about life is, as I was growing and moving around, I never
Mhm.
thought I would come home, right? I
Mhm.
always thought that my life was like outside of here, and life brought me right on back. So I am back here in Chester, Pennsylvania, and but this is where I grew up. I grew up around music. My father was a singer,
Mm.
and he had long stopped singing by the time I was born, but there was never not a time that music wasn't around. So I grew up listening to Motown, listening to jazz, listening to rock and roll. There was a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of yacht rock around the house. My dad loved a Christopher Cross and a Michael McDonald and all of that. So I grew up in that kind of cauldron of music being all around me at all times. In my bedroom, next to my TV, was my record player. I grew up with a record player in my room. I had my own records.
Okay.
So, um, My background is varied. I worked in the music industry when I was in college. I was a technician in a recording studio, and so I was recording records and all of that jazz. Um, I worked in corporate America for 15 years before like running, kicking, and screaming to an artistic career, where I became known in Atlanta as a photographer. Landed in nonprofit, which is some of the work that I do now, and along the way started podcasting in like 2015. So, I combine all of those things into the work that I do with DJ Sir Daniel and Q Points. And just to tack on what I think is so cool about our origin story too is Sir Daniel and I, we meet every week to talk about the show. And so we're not afraid to shake it up. We're always evolving as a show. So, but one of the things that I think is unique about us is we started as a video podcast. And that's really because Sir Daniel was like, we're going to get on this video. And I was like, but do we have to? Like, we don't have to be on video. Like, and then it just became a thing. So I think that's really unique about kind of the way we've entered the space. We entered the space as a video podcast. So not only do we have 180 plus shows, we have 180 plus videos of said
Okay,
shows.
cool. And you said your dad was a musician. Was he in a band or singing group?
So he was in a singing group. So he was in a quartet. They were a small local group called the Premonitions. And weird fun fact about my dad's group. So they only recorded one A side and a B side of a song that is considered one of the pillars of Northern Soul, which is a UK style of soul music. So in the canon of UK soul songs that are kind of like revered, my dad has one of those songs.
Oh, that's what's up.
It's really rare. I can't even afford to buy the 45 of it. Last sold for like $2,000. It's cool. That rare.
Oh, you don't have a copy of it?
We do not have a copy. So here's the thing you learn. The things you learn, right? The things you learn over time is these things should be protected. I know that when we were kids, my dad had a copy, but you don't think about holding on to that. This leads us to Q Points. And I think this is really important. When we think about our show, we are an archive for Black music and Black culture generally. So it's really important that we hold on to it.
So it's out of print. The ones that are out there are the ones that are out there. You know what? We're going to have to text Craig Dicker because he might have it. Because look,
bro, if you see the Premonitions on Jade Records, hook up, let me know because we'll pay whatever it is.
Wait, it's literally on J Records?
It's Jade.
No, Jade. Okay, Jade. I was about to say that's way too much of a coincidence.
That would be hilarious.
J Records.
Jade.
Look, that's got my wheels turning. The bro man got 2,000 in the crate right now. That's hilarious. We just sent him this link in the group chat, so hopefully, okay. We gonna look into that because
we're gonna find this thing.
And I'm getting off. I'll tell you later. I just thought of something, but I'll tell you later. I won't forget. So, oh my God, that's what's up. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you guys, Sir Daniel, where are you born? Your born place?
Oh, I was born in Barbados. Just a little that a few people may have heard of, because of this little pop singer that came from that island. You may have heard of.
Who's rich as all get out.
Like,
yes, Miss Riri. Come on now. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was born there and grew up in Brooklyn.
Okay.
The whole route that a lot of, if you ask a lot of immigrants from in the 80s, Black immigrants in the 80s, they took that route. They came from the West Indies and went to New York, and then some went to Florida, and some then went off to Atlanta.
That's what's up. That's so cool. Okay. That wasn't a part of what I was supposed to ask you, but I was like, okay, you can't just say I'm an immigrant.
Right.
Oh yeah, just walk away from that,
And
right?
let's leave it where it is. Right.
He
I
sure
knew
did.
we knew it was coming back around. He was waiting for it.
Should have
Yeah.
made y'all guess.
Right. Like, where do you
I
think
know, right?
Sir
Look,
Daniel
I
is
just knew
from?
you was gonna say some part of Africa, and Sambaza was gonna get all excited.
You know that wouldn't be that's I could think of worse things than to be,
True.
than to be uh identified as somebody from the motherland. So if you just name countries and I'll be like, sure, yes.
I'm from there.
I'm from there.
Have you been though to Africa?
I have not. It's so funny. We recently did an interview, an interview
Yep.
around traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the questions or the discussion kind of turned to going to the continent and just what that entails as far as time and comfort and traveling there.
Mm-hmm.
And because when you're of a certain height, like I'm 6'3", so I need for all of you all to really support Q Points so that we could be
First class all the way.
gajillionaires, so I can get on one of those Emirate flights where I literally have my own room and I can stretch out from, the length of the room is the length of my body, so I can just stretch out in full comfort because comfort is a thing when it comes to traveling for a lot of people, which we discovered in that conversation. And it's just one of those things that I have to think about. But I definitely would love to go to the continent. I see a lot of content creators that are making a lot of their imprint by showing footage of the continent, different countries, Kenya being one of them. Of course, we all see how magical South Africa is. We all heard of that. So my mother just got back from Ghana back in December. So I hear about all the trips. There's a lot of trips that people are taking to Ghana specifically. Like Ghana is reaching out. They want us to come over there for real, for real.
Nice. Sambaza, thoughts on that?
You're muted. Can't hear you. Uh-oh. You're muted, Sambaza.
Sambaza.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Could, because you was going in.
Whatever you were saying, it was good. We still can't hear you.
Oh my god.
Come on back in.
Oh,
Sambaza.
technology.
Technology be doing a thing.
See.
Okay.
You know what? When I moved him, I met it. I shouldn't have moved him. I was like,
That's
maybe if I move him, that'll help.
It's all good.
Okay.
Well, while Sambaza, so this is it's actually interesting that we're having this conversation. Sambaza, can we hear you now?
Check.
Mm-mm.
No.
Song.
I feel like if you go out and come back, it'll probably work.
Yeah. Oh, where I was going to go while Sambaza comes back in is was I think dope about the world that we're in, especially with podcasting, is I always feel like it's like music where you can kind of travel to these different places because there are so many places that I am interested in visiting. But the fact that I get to interact with you, Jen, and interact with Sambaza and, other folks, right? We get the opportunity to interact with folks. And it really does give us a view of what it's like for folks living in other places. When Sambaza gets back, he might get back while I'm talking about this, but he had a post where he was visiting the homestead of a friend. I loved that post so much because, he was visiting his friend at the homestead. And Sambaza, I'm talking about you when you did your post about visiting your friend's homestead in Kenya. That was like really still a very beautiful, relaxing post where you were just showing like, nah, this is where my friend lives. This is his family's land. And I'm just like, that's the beauty of what we get to do in the space that we're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was Actually, that's when I discovered. You know, I thought that the railway line passed along a certain railway, but
Mhm.
where I was showing you and I was standing there was actually a part of history, because that's the first railway line that the first guy who came through was using, and nobody knew that it was passing right through his land, and I did not know that.
Mm.
So it was kind of like a revelation where you're standing in front of history, and
Mm.
Yes.
wow, this is it. And yeah, it was very very eye opening, and it had a great history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So let me
So,
tell you what's happening. The gentleman that I took to swim fell
yes.
sick, was sick the whole day,
Oh, no.
and he had to come back to the car. So he's sitting right here, not feeling okay. But we cannot go home until the show must go on.
All right. We're
Yeah,
sending
Oh,
good
so
no.
he's gonna
energy.
be
We're
all right.
sending good energy over there.
Yeah, he's feeling
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Okay. Did he
yeah.
get a
So I'm
bottle of
sorry.
water or something?
Right.
Just go have him.
I think he's gonna be okay. He's ashy though.
Oh, what? You are
How
so
you going? Sambaza,
silly.
he's sick now. Look at
No, he's from swimming. Chlorine.
right.
Yes.
Oh,
That's one of the many like rites of passage of being a black youth.
Yes.
No matter where you are, it's like if you dare to go swimming in the summertime and don't let it be an outdoor pool, ash is a rite of passage.
Yeah.
well, it is a thing.
Right. Right.
So, but that was not a part of what we're supposed to be talking about. But that's
Listen,
okay.
Like,
So, look, welcome again. We enjoy having our conversations with our fellow creators. So, we're super geeked about today. We mentioned the theme was the power of partnerships, and you guys are a successful partnership. How share with us how you balance responsibilities and roles to share?
ooh,
hmm. I think I think what happens is that we naturally lean into what we're gifted at.
yes.
J Ray is a logistics genius. There is like the things that he's able to do technically, as far as he loves research first and foremost.
Okay.
And so if there's a new streaming service, if there's a new microphone that comes out, if there's any technology that could in the smallest way just give us like another inch up, another take us to another level, Jerry
Mhm.
is definitely going to research it and see how he can incorporate that into our show. I lean towards more of the creative things,
Mm-hmm.
the topics,
Mm-hmm.
the text messages between us are crazy. J Ray, for the longest has been his job has kept him like keeps him busy during the daytime, whereas
Right.
in the daytime I had like a lot of time on my hands, especially when I wasn't working. And
Mhm.
there'd be just these ideas that would come to me based on social media interactions, things in the news.
Mhm.
If a movie has come up, if there's some way that I can tie it into a conversation that we just know that nobody has ever thought of having,
Mm-hmm.
I will do that. We will do that. And then J Ray is typically like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the magic of what we have is that we are confident not only in ourselves, but we're confident in each other's talents.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I feel safe, letting him take the lead in certain things because I know that he's definitely more versed in whether it's technology, how things should run, so on and so forth. But and then he'll do the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
That's
think
great.
that's what makes it work. And then Jerry has mentioned our weekly meetings. I think is the extra sauce, the special sauce,
Yep.
and what keeps us fresh is that we gotta because especially because we're in separate cities,
Mm-hmm.
we
Right.
have to maintain contact. We have to maintain just always constantly checking in on each other on what's on the forefront of our brains and our thoughts and how we're feeling in the moment, because the intention of Q Points really is, yes, we're dropping the needle on Black music history, but we are also intentional on discussing things from an emotional standpoint, because a lot of what is not happening in other platforms is that nobody's really investing any time or thought in how things are affecting us as a community,
Right.
and the psychological effects that events, music, concerts, those things are having on us in real time. And so that's what you're going to get on Q Points, and that is a intentional intent that J. Ray and I have put out there when we got together and decided to do this podcast.
Nice.
Now, my question would be regarding these new apps. This one will probably be on J Ray, because you're the technical guy. So, with the new apps offering visibility in the podcasting industry, how do you guys set your goals on which ones work for you? I think this was the question we were talking about, the TikTok story and, Snapchat. Then you got
Yeah.
Blue Sky and
Yeah.
all those.
Yeah. So there's a few different, actually Sir Daniel is really good about this too, because like the social media thing, he's really tuned into kind of where the conversations are moving and kind of what's happening there. But I'm gonna jump into this from a technical standpoint. And from what we see as a podcast. So
But you know, one thing, let me stop
go
right
ahead.
there, just a split second.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm putting it to you, I know you and Sir Daniel always mesh together. So
Yeah.
ain't not a problem you guys jumping in on it. I may direct it onto you, but I know Sir Daniel
Yeah.
has something he'll throw in. Y'all just
Yeah.
mesh together. So yeah.
Yeah. So so it's a couple of things. Philosophy is be in all the places. Now we're not on Snapchat because literally neither one of us use Snapchat. So literally it's the one platform that we're not on. It was like, I don't use it personally. I don't know how to use it. So literally I would be learning how to use it for Q Points, and that seems daunting. So we don't have a profile over there. It's the one platform we don't have a profile on. And Mastodon, we don't use that either. A lot of people are on Mastodon now, not a platform we're on. So, but the rule of thumb is have as wide a reach as possible where there's like visibility on the platform, but we don't necessarily lean into all of the platforms to master them, because we realize that you figure out where your audience is over time. So that's the important part. Have the visibility in as many places as you can have them, right? For some people, that's a learning curve. For some of us, it's easier than others, right? Have the visibility in all the platforms, but where you need to spend your time is figuring out where your audience is at. As we've been doing this for so long, right? We realize that, and this is fascinating now to see, our Instagram audience is really engaged. Like now we go live on Instagram. We didn't always go live on Instagram. Now we have the ability to do that while we're simulcasting on YouTube and on Facebook and all of these other places, right?
And how often do you guys
Good question. We are live every week on Thursdays between 8 and 8:30. And if we are not there on the live, someone is asking us where we at. So it's appointment television for people now. We get texts where people literally are watching us on like their TV in their living room, right?
Yeah.
It's part of their experience. So, and we actually have some folks who watch the show and will take to their stories and post the songs that we talked about on their stories.
Hey, cool.
No prompting from us. These are just our listeners. And so what we've learned is know where your audience is and be there. And it's okay. So we do our Instagram lives where they're alive. People do play with us on TikTok. They messed up. We can't go live on TikTok no more. I don't know why we can't go live on TikTok no more. We didn't do nothing. TikTok was just like, nah, son, you can't go live over here. I don't know what to do. Anyway, but we're not the only one. There was a whole bunch of people that can't do it either. So it's fine. But so going back to your question, Sambaza, it is have the reach in as many places as you can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Consistently, your name needs to be consistent on every single platform. So if you look up Q Points Pod, it's going to be the same on YouTube as it is on Instagram, as it is on Facebook, as it is on Blue Sky, as it is on Twitter, right? Or X, or whatever the people calling it now. We ain't even really over there no more. But there's an account. So be consistent, be everywhere, study where your audience is, lean into that.
So you feel that multi-streaming in this way is an effective?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
changed over time too. Because when we started, Sir Daniel, remember we was like Facebook was the thing when we started.
Right.
Our biggest audience was literally tuning into us on Facebook. Then
Okay.
some of the Facebook people have moved over to YouTube, right? It's been like this very interesting movement. So our audience, depending on where they are in their lives, will move.
That's
So
true.
some of the Facebook people move to YouTube. Some of the people that move from Facebook to YouTube now watch on Instagram. It's very interesting to watch some of those people move
But
around.
YouTube is so valuable. Like you said, it's like appointment because YouTube actually literally has like a TV package, and
Yep.
then the podcasts, the videos, and all of the different media that people look at on YouTube
Yep.
is bam right there. So
Yep.
like
Yes.
I can go over and watch my reruns
Yep.
and look at my podcast.
Absolutely.
And if you have a podcast out there, you want to have it bam right there
Yep.
where people can find you. You
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think what and part of what podcasting has become is a study of human behavior
Yes.
Mhm.
and being aware and constantly studying how we're communicating these days. We all know technology changes by the second. And when things happen like after the political climate and things happen with that guy from South Africa and what he did, there was a mass exodus from X, from
Yep.
Twitter.
Mhm.
So those are all the things that we have to be cognizant of, and now more than ever is going to keep happening. The way the world is getting smaller, and
Mhm.
there's a lot more things are just a lot more tense, and so there's a battle over people's keeping people's attention, and actually there's a battle around how we communicate and who's going to be in control of the way we communicate. And pretty soon there might be a battle on what we're going to be able to say, what we're going to be able to talk about. So those are things that we also have to keep in the forefront of our minds as well.
Go ahead, Sambaza.
My other question is, can you all speak on LinkedIn? Because I haven't heard you guys talk about LinkedIn.
So we actually, interestingly enough, we do have a presence on LinkedIn as well. However, we're not at the point because we don't have. You have to hit 100 followers on LinkedIn in order to begin to go live on LinkedIn. Yeah. So now that's not true for your personal account. Me and DJ Sir Daniel can go live individually on our personal accounts from LinkedIn. I would not recommend that to Sir Daniel. So if I were like, I wouldn't recommend that either of us do that. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend it is because the LinkedIn audience, I'll speak for me. My LinkedIn audience is a very kind of professional audience. It is really geared. Some people are really interested in what articles I'm writing, what events that I'm doing, where I'm speaking, what's happening in my work life, what's happening like from that perspective. For me to put Q points, there might be okay, but it's not what that audience is there for, right? They're former coworkers and all of this stuff, right? Now there is a strategy to use LinkedIn Live, but not for Q Points, the show. We would have to create something special that fit into the LinkedIn format.
Okay. Yeah, I struggle with that too with LinkedIn. It's like I have these skills in podcasting, but I kind of don't want, employers to think
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm doing this while I'm working, or
Right.
or
That's
something like,
real.
not even that I do this, because I'm very
Mhm.
proud of what we put out, and I don't do anything that I'm not proud
Right.
of. But I don't want them to think I'm like doing this on their time, or
Right.
And you don't want them to think that you'll do it for them for free either.
Hey, baby, because let me tell you something. They'll be like, Jen, you do the podcast thing. We saw it on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We want to start a podcast in our department.
Yeah,
Don't you want to do
right.
that? Don't you
Don't
love
you
to
want
do
to do
that?
that?
And you don't have to, and don't worry about turning in a timesheet for that, because you're not going to get paid for it. But yes, you will enjoy doing this for free. Yes.
Oh wow.
My job has that. They have a podcast. They
Mhm.
they do podcasting,
Mm.
but it's a different type of podcast. And one interesting thing about when you talk about your personal and the podcast, because Sambaza has its own LinkedIn page. So when I put in like I've thrown up this show, I'll get like responses or expressions. People will check it out like 60. If
Mhm.
I do the same thing on my professional one, they don't bother about it.
Right.
But when I say, oh,
Mm.
I have just gotten chosen to this particular board
Yep.
or organization, oh, I'll get like
Love
20
that.
congratulations and everything like that. And that's what I noticed, and I wanted you guys to speak on it, and I appreciate you guys
Mm.
highlighting that. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
If just to add into that, I think it's social for, especially, I'm gonna just take this from a podcast perspective, but even from like a personal brand perspective, it's just not a one size fit all. People
Mhm.
will listen. There are all of these platforms, and we use one, right, to post in multiple places at one time, right? But with all of those platforms, right, they give you the ability to tinker and to change the post, because they realize that what goes on LinkedIn to what goes on Facebook to what goes on Instagram, it's a different audience. So you might write it slightly differently. You
Mhm.
might use different hashtags, which apparently hashtags are on the way out. But these are all things that you think about when you're posting. So it's not a one size fit all. So you're, to that point, like,
Mm-hmm.
we know that our professional audiences, they might be
Mhm.
interested in some aspect of what we do, but they probably don't, they may or may not be interested in the show. And honestly,
It's
the
true.
ones that are probably watching your show already.
Right. And it's not going to like put you in jeopardy or
No,
anything.
no.
Yeah. I think that's like a fear in the back of your mind that, you'll be questioned about something, or
Now, but keep in mind though, this, now I'm putting on my HR hat. I worked in HR for
uh-oh.
15
Oh
years.
yeah,
That's what I
those
was doing in
agreements that you
corporate.
signed when you,
Those agreements that you
yeah.
sign, because this is back in the early 2000s when I was recruiting people. I was looking at whatever digital footprint they had then. So if I
Oh,
was looking at it,
absolutely.
if I was looking at people's digital footprint in the early 2000s, right? And you putting all types of public stuff on the interwebs, everything counts.
Oh, absolutely. That goes without saying. There's
Yep.
definitely a matter of taste, ethics. Most companies have an ethical document that, just like if you go and get a DUI, anytime you get arrested, that
Yep.
if you have to do a background check, that
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be a problem.
Yep.
It's already gonna
Yep.
be a problem. So
Yes.
that's a something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
The
And I
taste
think,
and
Jen,
yeah.
that's why, Jen, remember when you make some when we think it's controversial, I would say these opinions are mine and only
Yes.
mine, and not represent the company I work for, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Then I start my piece, so
Yep.
that already absolves the company from anything. So anything I say,
Right.
that's me. They can't
Mm-hmm.
come after me for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and for
Mm-hmm.
those reasons, I think it should be kept separate. You know, maybe as a rule of thumb. you
Mm-hmm.
know, perhaps. So
just to
that's
minimize the headache.
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong saying that you have those skills and abilities, because some
Yeah.
people don't know how to put and produce a show. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, this is a skill.
Yes. Yep. And it becomes part of, I mean, absolutely. I don't know if Sir Daniel, I don't know. I haven't checked yours, Sir Daniel, if you do this, but Q points is on there like one of my listed positions, right? So
Oh
I
yeah,
have Q points. Yeah, I have Q points there because the people need to know this is work.
It
Like
is.
what me and Sir Daniel are doing is work.
Yeah.
Especially now that I've gotten back into the world of broadcasting. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
project management there. You have a
Yes.
project, you like getting you guys in, we had to sit down, create some time and space,
Yep.
and then say, okay, we're going to do this. There's an app, we go into the app at that particular time, we manage our time, and here we are,
Yeah.
we're going to make a product. Jen is going to do the after producing this, we'll go ahead and fix other stuff, and then
Mhm.
we get a great show after that. So project management right there.
Yep.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. So that's something to consider to our content creator friends out there. And we'll acknowledge the chat. We do appreciate, I don't think anybody's in right now, but we appreciate the ones who have stopped in on the
Yeah.
live visual version of this episode. So shout out to Brother Ed. Peace and love, family. I see you real early today.
Yeah.
So shout out
We
to
appreciate
Ed.
y'all.
And then we've got Denise, the healing session, heal, empower, release. Yes, fam, Sambaza, and Brother Ed. Also, this is very informative, and we appreciate that. And then he came in with a funny, what is hell no, Gina, her work that's on a live podcast. So silly. Very funny. Okay, let's see. I don't know where we got into this whole LinkedIn thing.
I know,
Oh yeah,
right?
no.
Listen,
I'm with that. I got it.
wherever y'all land.
Yeah, look. So, what are some of the creative ways that you've collaborated with other podcasters to enhance the content?
You've done a lot.
So we've showed up on each other's shows. We've done some guest spots on other, especially shows that are in the same vein of what we do. We've been on each other's shows, and there has been, so we've also done crossover episodes with folks that aren't necessarily in the same genre with us, but there's something that ties us together, and it makes it for a great conversation, great content. And so that, of course, is very intentional. And also collaborating with some other podcasters on our country project, J. Ray. That I think was a major deal for us as well.
Yeah. So
Nice.
it's so that to that point. So shout out to Big Mike,
Yes.
who collaborated with us on our country music series, which folks can check out if they visit our YouTube or visit our website at qpoints.com. Would you want Sambaza? You wanted to talk more about the country
More
music?
examples.
Yeah,
No, more
sure.
examples. You know,
Oh, yes.
So Daniel did not drop any names. Give me some name dropping. Which podcast?
Oh, we went down.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So
They Reminisce Over You
They Reminisce
podcast.
Over You podcast.
The White People Can't Save Us podcast. Love that. We love that show.
Queer News with Anna Deshawn. Stitch Please. Oh my God, there's so many. Radio B-Sides.
Yes.
NPM Network and Big Mike. I'm sorry, NPM Network and Mr. Al Pete.
Hey.
And Fat Girl Chronicles.
Fat Girl
Okay.
Chronicles, and there's so many. There's several more. So one of the things that we've done too in that vein is open up a space for What's Poppin' Penny. I want to shout out to
What's Poppin' Penny.
Shout out
yes.
to Tony. Oh my God, we're forgetting people, and it's not because it's just it's so here's what's important. What's important for us is since the beginning of Q Points, we've had other podcasters like on Q Points. Like we've reached out to folks, we've had them on the show. If they have if there's an alignment in any way, we'll try and find the line and bring them into the experience, right? But one of the ways that we've opened that up is to have we have spots on our show where we'll play the commercials of other podcasts, right? If you send us a commercial spot, we'll pop it on the show. It's totally cool. We have available slots for people to put, because we want to be able to spread the word about other people's shows and on our website too. So if you visit our website, there's a back end where all of our guests have their own page, right? So we'll have their bio, we'll have all of their information about where you can tune into them on there as well. Oh, and here's another collaborative piece. If you scroll down, Jen, there's a section on the YouTube that's really dope, which is a way to cross over. We have Keep going. Keep going. It's right here. Down below that. Featuring cue points. These are our interviews on other shows. So this interview that we're doing will go into this list.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so this is a way that we're like that we spread the word and subscribe to our folks. So when we're on a show, we put you in our subscribe to our folks too, so that people who are on checking in with us on YouTube can be like, oh, Daryl, who's Daryl? Like Daryl, was on our show. So this is the way that we do crossover with other podcasts.
You can organize your YouTube page like this?
Yes.
You sure can.
You sure can.
The propaganda podcast. Almost forgot about them.
I think
Yeah.
we need a master class on this.
Wait, you need to shout out to LP.
Yep. So yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah, so what we've discovered in this podcasting thing is that it's like anything else in this world. You accomplish more when you discover your community, and then you do things intentional about connecting with your community and creating with them in mind, and just the main thing, just networking in the true sense of sharing each other's networks. And what's the other thing that we do? We share feeds.
Oh, yeah. We do feed swaps.
Feed swaps. That's what it is.
Yeah, we'll do a feed swap. So we've worked with folks, for instance, like Stitch Please. That was a perfect example where we did a show that Lisa felt her audience would be really into. So she dropped and award-winning Stitch Please dropped cue points into her feed, and did a whole intro for us and all of that about why folks should listen to this show, and that's where it appears. So feed swaps are really, really dope. We tend to do them like a couple times a year. Where if we're taking time, we should have done one actually recently because we're coming off of a break, but it was an unexpected break. Life was happening, so we need to we do that a couple times a year, so then folks can like send us if we have we'll reach out to people or they'll reach out to us, and we'll pop them into our feed.
That is very creative. Love that. That's cool.
All right, so I got this question regarding you had referenced your podcast as an encyclopedia in Afros and Audio, the 2024 presentation. What legacy do you want Cue Points to leave in the music and podcast space?
I like that question.
Are you ready, Jerry?
I don't know that I'm ready, but I could wax poetic. First of all, Sir Daniel and I are very clear that we are in the lineage of great VJs and DJs over time. Like we are carrying the torches of your Donnie Simpsons and Sherry Carters and Julie Browns and Rachels and all of these people, as well as your Frankie Crockers and all of these people, right, that have come before us to bring the complexity and the beauty of Black culture through music to the world. So we recognize that we're standing in that legacy. So if I were to pick something, I think the legacy that we want to leave is that, those dudes continued to share the breadth of who we are unapologetically, even when it wasn't popular to do it, we were still doing it anyway, and doing it like with quality and with grace from our unique perspectives.
And just to add a little layer onto that, to make you feel a sense of pride, in what has been created for you, essentially, and what has been created with you in mind. Your forefathers, the people that come after you, all of these things were created with you in mind to give you a sense of identity and to give you a sense of connectedness, and to also give you a sense of community. And so we want you to be proud of that. We want you to be proud of that. And with that pride, again comes a sense of responsibility for it and making sure that it is taken care of.
Yes.
And that is, it is archived, it is taken care of, it is respected. Because a lot of what we as a people throughout this diaspora, a lot of the things that we have created, it has been poached, resold,
Yep.
remixed,
Watered
down, and then a lot of people have not gotten credit for it.
Yep.
And we feel like that has to stop here.
Yep.
And Q Points is that point where it stops.
Yes.
And so I feel that that's in the whole, that is the totality of our legacy as a podcast.
Oh, awesome. So there's one last question about your successes. I think Jen, we shouldn't forget this. Can you ask that question? I think it's very important because these guys are very successful.
Sure. And so Key Points has received a lot of critical acclaim.
Yeah.
You've been nominated by the Emmys and the Black Podcasting Awards. But how do you truly measure success?
Ooh.
Huh.
I think we might have different answers on this. So I wonder what go ahead.
See, I like this.
So success success to me will be, well, there's different levels. Success would be when we are called upon for to make commentary, when we are, because I feel like with anybody, whatever podcast, the subject of your podcast, you are the expert of that podcast. You are the expert of that subject, and you should always act like you're the expert of that subject. And so part of the success would be being that recognition on a wider level that, yes, if we need to talk about this aspect of culture, we need to call upon J. Ray and Sir Daniel, because if it doesn't have that stamp, if it doesn't have their nod of approval, then there's something not lacking. So that would be success. And then also another part, I feel like if we getting to a point where we have access to make change, or to create something that that adds on to the legacy that we were talking about, something that where we see a need for it and we create a solution for it, that would be, to me, that would actually mean success. Because yes, if you got paid for it, lovely, but if there's a problem or something that we saw was lacking in the world right now, we were able to somehow fulfill or answer that question or problem, that would be, I'd be like, okay, yeah, we did that. High five, J. Ray, we did that. That's how I would feel.
Okay. I am going to add on to that. So yes to everything Sir Daniel just did. And for me, and one of the things I consider to be success for us, and I love when this happens, is when we get an email or we see somebody and they're like, yo, that thing. So I'm gonna give two examples. My favorite example, he's actually on our Instagram page. His parents gave us permission. We have our youngest listener who's like 10 now. And he was listening to Q Points. Shout out to Ellison. He was listening to Q Points and said to his dad, "This is a great music documentary." And I was like, Ellison gets it. He gets what we're doing here. Thank you, Ellison, for understanding us, right? So it's that kind of like feedback about the work that we're doing, right? And the second example is, I remember, I'm going to find this email. We got this email from this brother that absolutely loved the conversation that we had about UK drum and bass and trip hop. He sent us a like 2-paragraph email about, these are the artists that I grew up with. This is amazing that y'all had this conversation about these people in this way, right? Because these artists meant something to this person. We ain't know who that person was. I don't know how he found the show. I literally have no idea. But he stopped on that day and wrote us an email to tell us that we did good.
That's cool.
That
Yes.
So the awards nominations, amazing. We love the Ambies and the Podcast Academy. They were really good to Q Points. Yo, we ended up in a category with some heavy hitters. We was in the entertainment category with heavy hitters, right?
Yeah.
First time out, right? Black Podcasting Awards. So grateful. 2 years in a row, we got nominated for Best Black Music Podcast in the category with heavy hitters. Mr. Al Pete. When we was in that category with Al Pete, I'm like, dang, the tables might wobble is dope, though.
We were like,
You know what I mean?
he
The
got it.
tables might wobble is dope. But so that is beautiful and that is affirming, and it reminds you
Yeah.
that there is that people are listening. But I love it when just the people be like, I listened to your show last week while I was in the car. And that thing that you said about X, Y, and Z artist made me go and look up the song. That's it.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know something. Lisa on the live last week, because we're going live on SubHub now. I'm sorry, Substack. And Lisa said, we said something, didn't know that Lady Gaga was on Kendrick's, on the original versions of Kendrick's beat on
Kill My Vibe.
Yeah, I won't say the cuss word. But, and said, oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why we're here. To drop that kind of knowledge.
See, that's pretty cool.
Podcasting is such an intimate thing.
Yeah.
Yes, we do video, but largely the large amount of people consume us through the audio. And it's such an intimate thing to have people, speaking directly in your ear, whether you're in your car or if you have your earbuds in. That's a relationship that you're people on a weekly basis. They look for you. They look for it. And so when you're able to fulfill that for people, I think, and create those parasocial relationships, there's something to that as well. That feels good. That feels good to get I might get a text from a friend of mine who also happens to listen to the show avidly, and they'll just be like, I am cracking up right now because J. Ray said such and such, such and such. Those kinds of things just make me cheese from ear to ear. So
yeah,
it's such an important thing. I think so. All you podcasters out there, realize that you are creating a relationship with your listeners, and it's an intimate one. So treat it as such.
Amen.
That's pretty cool.
So
I love that.
Wind up, I think we need to know where we can find you. You already told us in the beginning, but let's give it a shout out and say this is where we're at.
Oh,
this is where J. Ray really
and I
shines.
didn't realize Substack was something that you guys are doing now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do it as I would do it on the show. So, if you can hear for first and foremost, if you can hear our voices or see our faces, y'all need to subscribe and support Woke by Accident and Sambaza podcast. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sambaza. So that's the first thing, is make sure that if y'all are listening to this, subscribe and follow and join in the conversation. And the same for Q Points, right? So you can find us wherever there are podcasts. You can find us at Q Points. We're QUEUE points. And you can find us on all the platforms, including YouTube. Visit our website at qpoints.com. There you can check out the entire archive of Q Points episodes. You can also read our blog, magazine.qpoints.com. We have supplemental content. Some of it is related to the show. Some of it is stuff that we want to talk about and we ain't talked about it yet, but we're going live over there on Thursdays as well. So if you subscribe to Q Points Magazine, you can get us there too. And we also have a store too. If people, all of the links, if you click all of them links there, you see links up at the top, Jen, see where it says 8 more links. If you visit our YouTube and where it says 8 more links, it's so many places, all of them places right there, you can access the show. We're everywhere.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, y'all. So thank y'all so much for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been fun.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, we ask Q Points to stick around for our proper goodbye. But we thank you guys for joining us, and we hope that today's conversation have inspired and enlightened you. If you found the episode, we invite you to consider sharing it with friends, family, colleagues. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change, and we ask that you stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. So, with that, we thank you all again. We invite Q Points to stick around for our proper goodbye, and everyone else, take care.
Peace, y'all.